Hey everybody, welcome to this Wednesday edition of Together We Can. I'm Jason Hassett, your host. Love me some coffee. First off, apologies about the lack of a background and the terrible audio. The reason I haven't been consistent with videos, and the reason I probably won't be consistent with videos for the next week or so, is that this very echoey room is being turned into a new studio. So on order, I have one of those, stupid podcast mics that's going to come all the way out here. We're putting audio foam in this whole place to basically dampen the noise, as well as just creating a background instead of using a green screen. So there's going to be some cool posters and stuff behind me. If you notice that most of the posters that will go behind me will be Formula One, that's because I am doing all this to not only work on this channel, but to also work on my new website, grandprick.com. I am the Grand Prick, and it is all about Formula One. But with that being said, we're going to jump straight into today's video, which is brought to you by Vice Temple. If you want simple, cheap, and easy to use hosting for your new adult site or adult project, Vice Temple starts for $5 a month, and you'll find our code for 50% off the $10 package in the description below. However, in this video, we're going to be talking about something really, really important, which is why it's really, really important for you to stop being in motion and start being in action. Now, you might be wondering what's the difference between the two. Well, that's the whole point of why you're watching this video. So basically, it goes without saying that if you're starting in this industry, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get where you want to go. And the reason for that is you have to build up that level of content and that level of the level of items that you have on offer to your potential clients, your potential cam girls, and so on. So when it comes to creating money in this industry, it's important to create something in a constant state, so be continuously moving. In my last video, I talked about why it's so important to do consistency over intensity, and this kind of jumps into that as well, but it's more about why it's important to be in action instead of in motion. So whether you're an affiliate or a cam girl, it can take up to a year for you to actually make any money in this industry, which means that if you're not constantly in action and if you're constantly in motion, you're not going to get anywhere, and that could take 2 to 3 years then. So you might be wondering, what does in motion mean? Is that not something similar to being in action? Well, it's kind of the same shit, but realistically what it means is that in motion is more you're in pre-action. So what I mean by that is in motion is a situation where you might be planning out what to do, you could be watching YouTube videos like this, you might be researching heavily, you might be talking to people, and that's all really, really good stuff. But the problem is that when you do something like this, it releases a little bit of dopamine in your brain, and you think that you're actually doing something, when really you're not, you're pre-doing something. And it's important to just jump in and start doing something, otherwise you're going to use this in motion phase as an action phase, which is not going to help you create any money in the long term. So why is action better than in-depth planning? Now, there's probably a few of you jumping and shouting at me going, yes, but I can't start without a plan. Well, first of all, you can. And second of all, it's actually probably better for you to do so at the start. The reason I say this is because when it comes to building businesses online, I have a lot of experience, so that when I go to do things, more or less I can sit back, plan out slightly, and go ahead. If we're doing something more in depth, then I will sit down, have planning. For example, with pornlearning.com, that's taken a lot of planning because it's something new, but I have an in-depth experience of how that stuff works. Therefore, I'm not doing guesswork. Now, if this is your first venture, then I'm sorry, but no matter how many YouTube videos you watch, everything you do is guesswork, which is why it's better for you to just jump in and start trying out everything. Essentially, as the old phrase says, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, because what sticks for you is going to be different than what sticks for the YouTuber that you're watching, for example, right now. So what I do may not work for you because our personalities are different, our interests are different, our passions are different, and so on, and our experience and the way we learn things are different. So it's more important for you at the start to go ahead, just jump in and do this. Now, a perfect example of this is in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I'll put it in the description below. There's also the part that I'm talking about here you can read more of in the article in the description below. So basically, in his book, he talked about this professor from the University of Florida whose name is Jerry Ulzman. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But Jerry Ulzman, basically, he would split his class every year at the start of the photography class into two. Coffee and boobies. You just can't go wrong. So he would split these into two. And the reason he would do this is to make a very, very long-winded point. So he would split one side of the class and say, okay, you will be ranked on the quantity of photos that you take over the next 3 months. 100 photos is an A, 80 photos is a B, 60 photos is a C, and so on and so forth. He would give them a narrow window, like in this particular type of photography, whatever it is, but quantity. Then he would go ahead and say to the second group, okay, you have to go and create the best quality photo that you can find. So they would spend months and months and weeks meticulously planning out the photo that they were going to take. Now, every year without fail, Mr. Ulzman would come back and he would find out that the class has fallen specifically into his trap. The reason for this is, weirdly enough, the most photos and the best photos were found in the same group. And if you've already guessed it, it's in the quantity group. Now, the reason for this is simple. The people who go out and just start taking photos, every time they take a photo, they're learning something, they're making a mistake, they're getting better, they're honing their craft. If you're just sitting back and doing theory of how to get the best photo, then you're not going to take the best photo. The guy who's out there shooting photos all day, every day, is inevitably going to be better than you. Practice makes perfect, and that's why it's really, really important for you to just start now and forget about all of the noise, the emotion. Making mistakes are what makes success. In fact, if I look at my day planner here that I've created, the quote from today actually lines up with this, and it's kind of why I decided to make this post. Success is not final, failure is not final, it's the courage to continue that counts. Said by some weird pervert from England circa 1946. I think his name was Winston Churchill or something, I'm not really sure. I know he liked boobs though. So, you might be asking yourself, well, that's all well and good, Jason, but what can I take as my steps today? So, what I would say is, find the path of least resistance to some action you can create to just get yourself into the habit of doing things instead of trying to plan everything. Now, these can be things like, and I'll give you a quick list. If you're an affiliate, start an Instagram. Start daily posting, scheduling it out, and growing your audience. Just start today. Don't plan it out. Don't think about it. When your content gets taken down, you'll learn how to get around it. Just start doing it. Open a Reddit account, start commenting, finding out what people like, where the most traffic is, and so on. Just start getting involved. Start your adult website now, going to sponsor these guys, Vice Temple, and get a hosting account, set up your first website, start creating content. Just do it. Just go ahead and find out what you like. Start writing every day. Make it a habit to just write every day. Doesn't matter if it's 300 words of absolute garbage, just begin writing. The other thing you can do, which is kind of self-serving, join our action group and join our action group call later today. Link is in the description below and it's on Facebook. If you're a cam girl, then you can do all of these same things, but also start just camming for an hour a day. Don't plan out what you're going to do, just start camming. Now, when you've done this and you've started making money like we have, in a year's time, that's when you can start doing things like my favorite Pareto principle, or as you probably know it, the 80-20 rule, which is where you can then look back at everything you've done, figure out where you're getting most of your results from, and just focus on that. But when you're starting out any new business, the key is to really just throw shit at the wall, see what sticks, and hope that you make money and big boobies. I'm Jason Hassett. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry again about the sound, but I promise in a couple of weeks when the studio's ready, I'm going to have much more videos, much better videos, and also a new Formula One website for me to obsess over. Like and subscribe.